you had that assignment that you don't know what to do about it? You have that talk, you have that speech, you have that presentation, you have to create an infographic, you have to create an animation, whatever you have to do. How many times have you had an assignment like that and you don't know what to do? Raise your hand if you have been there. Okay, so we all have been there, we all have had that moment where we need to be creative. And through my whole life, I hear people say, oh, that person is so creative, so talented, she was gifted, she was born with that. And how many of you believe that? That creativity is something that you are born with? Okay, I'm so happy that you didn't raise your hand. Because creativity is something that you develop, it's something that you can master. Creativity is not something that we are born with. So, for my talk, I want to talk about 3 simple ways that will help us to increase our creativity. So the first one is be bored. Okay. Why being bored will help us to increase our creativity? How can that happen? So it's not boredom itself that makes us creative, but it's what leads to that makes us creative. Why is that? Because when we are bored, we let our mind open and we start thinking more deeply and we let our brain to work. Because what happens when we are entertained? We don't have to do anything. Our brain doesn't need to work. We are just consuming whatever is in front of us. We're just either watching a movie or scrolling out through social media, or we are just sitting there and our brain is basically dead. So it doesn't have to think, doesn't have to work. So that's why being bored is one of the things that help us to be more creative. So the second step is unplug from technology. Okay, so this is related to being bored because we live in an age where everything is digital and we always have something in front of us. Like I was mentioned, we can just go to social media and be there the whole day. And I've been there, I've been scrolling through social media for 5 hours. And you can ask me what good I got from there? Nothing. So when we unplug from technology, there are some things that we can do. So the first thing that we can do is go on a walk. Just go without your phone. Just go walk through campus, go to the gardens of the school, and just think on what you can do. Think of that assignment that you don't know what to do or how to start it, and do it. So before coming to BYU, when I was back in Honduras, I was studying architecture. So yeah, and as you know, architecture is a career where you need to be very, very creative. Because one day they tell you, okay, you need to design a house. The other day they tell you, you need to design a park. The other day they tell you, you need to design a hospital. But we don't want you to do the same that we have seen our whole life. We want you to do something different. So I had this assignment, but I needed to create an art gallery. And they told us, we don't want a box. We want something unique. So I was there, seated by my drawing table, and I was just doing sketches. And everything that I could do was a square, all the time. I would just add like a couple of walls, and that was everything. And I was sitting there without any idea until my sister told me, you have been there for like 3 hours and you haven't done anything. So go out, go for a walk. And then I went out, and I was just walking down my neighborhood, and I was thinking, what can I do, what can I do? Until I had this idea, but it wasn't like a brilliant idea, but it worked. So I was like, why don't you combine different shapes? So I was like, okay, so maybe I can combine like a triangle and a circle, and make like this weird shape, and make it look like waves. And I was like, okay, I like that. So at the end, I did that. My project was the most different from all of the other projects because people just did our circles or they did just like a weird shape, but it wasn't really working. So when we let our brains just think and work on that, that's when the great ideas come. So the other thing that we can do to unplug from technology is giving our time. So talking to other people. Like my sister, she went to me and gave me a good idea of something that I could do. So people have been in the same situation where we have been. So they can tell us what to do, or they can give us ideas, or they can just help us take out the stress that we are going through, relax, and then going back to work. So this leads me to my third step, that is brainstorm. So like I was saying, when we have more people, we have more ideas. And the more ideas, the merrier. So when we are brainstorming, there is one thing that we always need to remember, that negativity has no place. So when we are with people, when we ask them for ideas, we might think, oh no, that's a dumb idea, I don't want to do that. And what happens when we are just like, oh yeah, then they will stop giving us ideas. And maybe that idea wasn't that good, but the next one could be like really good. And because we were like, oh no, I don't want to hear you, they will shut down and they won't say anything. The third thing about brainstorming is that the worst idea can be the best idea. So when you think of an idea and you're like, no, maybe I shouldn't do that, think, why not? Why is that a bad idea? And then think, okay, why is this a good idea? Why could this work? Then out of the bad ideas, we could get the most. So, like I was saying, creativity is something that we develop. It's not something that we are born with. And we all can be very creative. We all can do everything that we need. We just need to do these 3 simple steps. Being bored, unplug from technology, and brainstorm. When we do that, we will see how many ideas we'll have and how creative we will be, and then we will be different from everyone else.